Hello and welcome back to the channel, and the first video of 2026. It's been a bit of a gap in the content that I've been creating, so first and foremost, thank you very much to those who have subscribed to the channel. We've all got to start somewhere, and we're currently at 20 subscribers, which is 20 more than I had at the start, so much appreciated. And what I thought I'd do is a bit of multitasking, because what could possibly go wrong there? So we'll start with the game I'm playing. This is ARK Ascension, or ARK Survivor Ascension. And rather than a kind of, what would we call it, a remake or an upgrade, it's actually been redesigned in Unreal Engine 5 to improve, first and foremost, the graphics, all the quality of life stuff. And it's essentially an open world kind of survival stroke crafting, survive, and stroke, kind of leveling, bit of something for everybody really. So I would how would I describe it? A little bit like Rust, but with dinosaurs. It's an open world. We have different biomes, so we're currently on the island. We start with nothing, we spawn in, and we have to then go and harvest resources from around the environment. We then got crafting menus, which allow us to craft weapons, clothing, armor, all that good stuff. There are what they call engrams, which are essentially blueprints, and there's quite an extensive catalogue there to build lots and lots of different things. So you've got some base building mechanics, which you can see here. So I've crafted a nice little homestead. We've got some storage, and top tip is to craft a simple bed as soon as you can. If you die and you don't have a simple bed, you will respawn somewhere on the map as a whole, and that could be quite a long way away from your last death. So if you do die, you will be marked on the map where your corpse is, to go and loot yourself so you can go and recover some of what you lost. If you don't have, so when you do have the simple bed, you can respawn back into it, and that also means that you can fast travel. So if I have a look at the map just quickly, then you can probably get some idea of the scope of it. So I have essentially had a couple of different playthroughs. And the reason for that is, with these types of games, rather than being thrown up in at the deep end and getting frustrated, so I'll talk about things like Survival Deep, is right up my street in terms of the type of game that I wanted, like island, going and crafting, bit of reward and building your own little place in the world, and managing water and food was really quite tricky. So with this one, because it's an older game that's been remade, it's not a recent remake, but it is 50% off on the PlayStation Store, and so that's why I was interested in it. It does mean that there's lots of different options in terms of difficulty, so you can basically use sliders to determine everything from how much you gather from resources through to difficulty, how many dinosaurs are populated, pretty much everything. And it looks like there's a really active modding community as well. There are DLC, some paid, some free, but I've been more than happy with what we have in front of us here. So this stunning island that we can wander around. So with a lot of the games, I've probably mentioned this before, is the kind of top tier games, whilst you get value for money because they're so enormous. We'll talk about Hogwarts Legacy, the Red Dead games, Grand Theft Autos. All those kinds of games are absolutely huge. You can get hundreds and hundreds of hours out of them, but it's also quite easy to get lost in them as well. So with these types of games, you can play them pretty much to suit yourself. So you can go and gather around the immediate area, build a little homestead like we've done here, and get familiar with what you can craft. So I've got a smithy here and a forge to turn some raw materials into more refined items, so that we can kind of open up the different options as well. This is a little bit unique in that you also have a dinosaur timing mechanic. So with the smaller ones, you can find a food that they quite like to eat, and you can feed it to them, and then you will be able to have your very own dinosaur you can name, and you can then use a radial wheel to give them instructions. Then moving on to the bigger dinosaurs, it's a little bit more brutal because essentially you've got to club them unconscious and then give them food whilst they're unconscious in order to tame them. And as you can see there, you can then craft saddles and things so that you can actually move around on them. In terms of basic management, I'll kind of heads up display there down on the bottom right. Up at the top there, we've got our carrying capacity, we've got water, food, stamina, and then health. I've not really worked out what the bottom one is just yet because I've not really explored much of the island. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, rather than concentrate on making massive bases with different things in there, I am going to kind of make more basic ones so that I can fast travel around the island. So I'm playing this on a single player. You can, as I say, you can tweak the different mechanics to suit your playstyle. You can also then either jump on to a hosted server where they could be modded, a bit like I suppose Rust and Daisy and the like, where that then becomes PvP, PvE. So there's a lot of scope there. You could kind of tribe up, which is an option, so you get people to join your tribe, and then these dinosaurs can have armor and you can make lances and all kinds of stuff to basically have full-on dino wars. The other thing that I'll quickly mention is that you can host a dedicated server. So rather than playing local co-op where it's split screen, which I've never been a fan of, you can then host a server to just password protect it and just have friends kind of join you in the world. So that covers off ARK Ascension, which I would highly recommend. As I say, it is 50% off because it is an older game. It still runs really well. So some of the reviews go back to the initial release saying that it is a bit janky. And that's because it started out life as a Steam game and I'm playing it on the PS5 after what I think looks like all the kinks have been ironed out. So very little screen tearing, you get it every now and again, but it runs really well. And I've been playing it on the PlayStation Portal. On the face of it, you kind of think, well, what does it do? It's not a standalone device. So if you're taking it away from your home with you, there's no cartridges, there's no local content. It's essentially a streaming device. It uses remote play. You could remote play on a phone, and if you have a top-end phone, then it's probably going to perform fairly well. The other thing that confused me was that it seemed to suggest that you needed to be on the same Wi-Fi connection, which leads to the question, well, if I want to play my PlayStation on my home network, why would I be not playing it on my PlayStation? And you know your partner doesn't want to sit there watching you wander around a dinosaur infested island. What I would say is that I find it really useful. I find it a good little piece of kit. So I have taken it away with me. As long as your Wi-Fi signal in the house, it doesn't have to be the same one. As long as you've got decent Wi-Fi, enough to stream the content, then you're going to be good. Now, for me, that involves having the PlayStation Premium subscription. So that means that I can stream the games. What I would say is it's a bit of a downside that if you have paid for a game and you've got a portal, then I do believe you should be able to play it. But you do need to have the top tier subscription in order to be able to do that. That top tier subscription, one of the plus sides there is rather than having to buy the games or even indeed a PlayStation to basically stream the games catalogue. Now that's not as extensive as the premium one. It is a kind of curated list of games that you can cloud stream. It does have a decent LED screen. It's good size and really good quality. And as long as you've got a decent internet connection, it is buttery smooth to play as well. And so that's where it is a benefit to me. So we did get a Switch. A Switch is good for kind of social gaming and things like that. What this means is, particularly in our household, luckily my partner, she's also a gamer as well. And so we did invest into two PS5s. We've each got a portal. And what it means is, rather than kind of sitting in different rooms to play games like this, then we could both be in the same room. So somebody can be on the TV, somebody else on the portal. That came in really useful for games like ARK Raiders. So we're not kind of, as I say, having to sit in different rooms with headsets on and all that kind of carry on. So there's still a kind of social aspect to it. The other thing that I was going to mention in terms of multitasking is that I also picked up a PSVR 2 over the Christmas period. I did get it secondhand at a very good price because, again, it was one of those things that you got the Quest 3 and 3S. I have the Quest 3. It is very portable, and the games that run on what is essentially a mobile chipset are very impressive. The pass-through, I would say, is vastly superior to the PlayStation kind of lose a bit of the graphical quality, I would say, as well. So I did have the original PSVR, and talking about downsides, again, a little bit disappointed that I had an extensive kind of back catalogue that I'd purchased for the PSVR originally, and it's not backwards compatible. I kind of expected that you would be able to play the games, and whilst they're not kind of upgraded per se, there would be less of a screen door effect because of the better quality of the headset. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The other thing that kind of held me back is there just didn't seem to be that much investment into the game. So there's lots and lots of games on the Quest 3. You can pick them up for 15, 16 quid and get a good amount of enjoyment out of them. With the PSVR 2, I would say that the system itself is better. So the original breakout box and cable was a faff. It really tethered you down. Yes, you have got a wire. It's just one USB, so it's not as free as the Quest 3, but it does allow you to play games that are more demanding. So in terms of the ones that I've got, which hopefully it'll be a lot easier to capture. So with me wanting to create YouTube content, what I found is on the Quest 3, it was really quite difficult in terms of capturing your content and then getting it onto YouTube. So you'd have to export it. There was file size issues, all that kind of stuff, which kind of made it a bit of a big job. And actually, it's really difficult to translate the feeling of VR on a flat screen, and that remains true for the PSVR 2, but I can capture it in exactly the same way as I'm capturing the footage now and get it straight onto YouTube. The sweet spot on PSVR 2 does take a little while to get to where you want it to be. There is an IPD slider on there, or a button, which is the distance between your eyes, so that you can get the picture crystal clear. It's obviously graphically superior, and I have played, so Resident Evil Village is obviously an older game. It's come down in price. You can pick it up on sales, and the VR mode is free. And I just can't explain the difference between the flat screen game and experience walking around those mansions and the village in VR. It's absolutely incredible. Hitman World of Assassination, again, the kind of scope of those sandboxes for the price that you get and the different areas is just absolutely immense. You can just find yourself wandering around, taking in the environments. That's absolutely incredible. And then, of course, Gran Turismo, I think it's 7. So I'd already picked that up for the flat screen game. It was quite pricey. It remains to be kind of higher end in terms of second hand. And I had bought a steering wheel and pedals. Again, nothing too expensive, just pick something up off Facebook just because it really adds to that immersion. And what I would say is with the PSVR 2 headset, it is absolutely incredible. It's not that I've actually been, around a racetrack in supercars, but that's about as close as I'm going to get, and it's much, much cheaper. So that is a highly recommended experience. I did also pick up a gaming wheel and pedal stand. So very lucky at Christmas. So the PSVR 2 and the gaming rig for the wheel and the pedals was all part of the setup there, and that is absolutely incredible. And then I'll end the video talking about hopefully soon in 2026. I'm sure everybody's eagerly awaiting it and is excited for the prospect of Microsoft Flight Simulator having a VR mode. So if that is anywhere near the level of detail and immersion as Gran Turismo, that is going to be absolutely incredible. And it's one of the few games with my current kind of gaming habits and, having a family to feed. Those sorts of prices now, because we seem to have edged back more towards the 70, 80 quid type game range. It's one of the few ones where I'd pay that much money for. And that's not because I don't feel like I'm getting value for money with that, because we do have those absolutely huge open world games where you can easily spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours. But that doesn't fit my gaming pattern. I just don't have the time anymore to kind of sit there for 8-hour gaming sessions and get lost in side missions and whatnot. And that's why the channel you probably see is a mixture of simulator games where you can just pick stuff up and just, it's almost, I'd call it the equivalent of background videos on YouTube, in that with today's attention spans, you just have stuff going on in the background. Simulators, cozy simulators, it's just something to kind of almost mindlessly do. So this game here has an element of that with the base building and the basic mechanics, and then you can get more involved in it. Obviously the new Grand Theft Auto, that's going to be immense. I don't know when that's releasing. They keep pushing that back because, the scale of that is going to be off the charts. Again, now that we have Unreal Engine 5. So future plans for the channel. I'm going to continue to look through the PlayStation premium subscription for any of those hidden gems. Give the games a go because, hey, I paid for it and I then see it as being free. I did want to capture some more VR gaming because obviously I've got back into that a little bit more and it was quite difficult to capture. So it may not translate too well in terms of the sense of immersion, but I'm going to be hopefully recording some of that, probably Hitman first and foremost, just to get back to uploading some content. So I'll finish the video there, and again, just say thank you to those people that did subscribe. They kind of tick over every now and again, and I really do appreciate that. So as I will say at the end of each video, a thumbs up lets me know that you're enjoying the content. I'll always read and respond to comments, and last but not least, those subscriptions just help the videos reach a wider audience. And I'll see you very soon.